This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You chose to hit play on this podcast today. Smart choice. Make another smart choice with Auto Quote Explorer to compare rates from multiple car insurance companies all at once. Try it at progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
If your roof starts to leak or your floor's really squeak, you live in a money pit. Money pit.
If your basement needs a pump or your place looks like a dump, you live in a money pit. Money pit. Pick up the telephone.
Fix up your home sweet home by calling 888-MONEY-PIT.
Well, for the last time, coast to coast and floorboards to shingles, this is the Money Pit. I'm Leslie Segrete, and with me is Jim Kenzie. How are you doing, Jim?
I'm doing okay. This is a little bittersweet. It's a transition. It's who knows what's around the corner. It's look what we've accomplished together. I think it's pretty cool situation. Good crew we had, didn't we?
I mean, we really did have a great time together, and Tom was definitely the band leader here, but we've definitely built a good friendship and a good rapport. And I mean, this is one of those moments that you really just don't believe is real until we're sitting in it. You know, for 21 years, this show has been part of my life, and it's been part of yours, and it's been one of the greatest privileges of my career to help you all take care of your homes and the places that you love most. And we thank you so, so much for letting us in. And, you know, throughout these years, we've had the honor of being beside our longtime co-host and our dear friend, Tom Kraeutler. Tom's knowledge, wit, and genuine love for helping homeowners shaped the Money Pit in every possible way. I mean, he always was that shop teacher.
Right.
Right? It never went away. He was...
And Boy Scout.
Yeah, true.
He was a National Boy Scout guy, yeah.
It was always there. He always wanted to help, and he always wanted to help you all. And I hope that we have all done that. And I hope that this past year since Tom's passing has been helpful in a way that Tom would be proud. I still hear his voice in the back of my mind, telling a story, making a joke, reminding me that he was a home inspector for 20 years, right?
Did he ever mention that?
I mean, he may have once or twice, but I mean, it's just always there, giving the exact piece of advice that you kind of need to hear. So this hour, we're celebrating what the show has meant, the lessons we've shared, the calls we've answered, the homes that we have helped repair, design, refresh, and love. So let's dive into the final tips and insights that we want you to take with you as we say goodbye. Coming up, after more than 2 decades of helping homeowners, we're going to share the biggest lessons that we've learned and the things that truly make a difference in how your home looks, feels, and functions. So sort of the core principles of the Money Pit. And after thousands of calls to the show, there's a few mistakes that homeowners make more often than any others. We'll share what they are and how you can avoid them. And for our final segment of the Money Pit, we're going to share the projects that are always worth doing, whether your home is new, old, big, small, whether your budget is tight or generous. These are the investments that pay off every single time. For our calls this hour, we're going to dive into some of our favorite Tomisms, some just to hear his voice. We're going to share all calls that Tom and I have taken over the past 20-something years. So we hope you enjoy the ride. We've got Georgianne on the line from Arkansas who's dealing with a very chilly bedroom. What's going on?
I have 2 bedrooms that have outside walls. When I moved here in 1989, I'm assuming that it didn't get as cold in the wintertime as it does now. So my bedrooms are very cold when the temperature changes, and I'm wondering if there's anything I can do to warm up those rooms.
What kind of heating system do you have?
I have a heat pump.
You have a heat pump,
It's electric. It's electric.
It's electric heat pump, right. How do you use the heat pump? Do you set it and do you forget it, so to speak? Do you leave it, or do you sort of bounce the thermostat up and down?
Well, I have it set for when it's warmer for the fan to come on in the house. And when it gets cooler, the heat will come on.
Right. What do you have it set at?
It's at 72. I have a range house that's kind of big, long.
Right.
So.
Okay. So a couple of things come to mind. First of all, heat pumps tend to feel like they blow cold air because the temperature that the air comes out of the registers is like 100, 110 degrees as opposed to like 130 or 140 if it was gas-fired or oil-fired. So that kind of works against you. The reason I asked you if you just sort of set it and leave it alone is because if you get in the habit of turning the heat up when you're uncomfortable, the heat pump won't keep up and it'll bring on its backup system, which is an electric resistance system that's built into a heat pump. And the difference is that costs about twice or 3 times more to run than the heat pump itself. Heat pumps are pretty efficient. What you should have is a special type of clock setback thermostat that you could utilize to raise the heat and lower the heat at a very, very slow pace, and that will stop the backup system from coming on. Other things to check, insulation. You mentioned you have a ranch. So the insulation above this room, do you know how much insulation you have in that attic in terms of inches?
I have no idea. I've been here for 35 years.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to tell you this. The first thing you should be doing is adding more insulation. If you haven't touched it in 35 years, I can tell you right now you don't have enough. Well, you probably have maybe enough to be flush with the ceiling joists, the beams that you sort of walk on when you go up there. But you really need to have 15 to 20 inches. So the first thing I would do is I would get unfaced fiberglass bat insulation, and I would have it laid on top of the old insulation. I don't know if you have a floor up there or what, but in that area, and maybe even in the whole ceiling, lay those unfaced bats. You can just put them right down perpendicular to the insulation you have right now. That added layer of insulation is going to make a huge difference in your comfort in that house and in your heating bills. That one thing might address this, but the other things to look at might be the windows. If you have 35-year-old windows, we don't know if those windows are drafty or not. A very simple way to figure out if they are drafty is to take the back of your hand and hold it alongside the jambs of the window, the sill, the sides, the top. The reason you put the back of your hand is because that side of your hand is much more sensitive to temperature than your palm, and you'll feel air coming in there. And if you do, then you could try to evaluate ways to stop that. So you may need to caulk the outside of the window trim against the siding. I always like to caulk the inside of the trim against the window and the wall as well, because sometimes air slips through there. You may want to think about adding a cellular shade instead of whatever kind of shade you have now. Cellular shades are the ones that are hollow in the middle, and they actually act as a barrier between the warm air in the bedroom and the cold air outside, and helps to avoid the convection that happens when that warm air strikes the glass and then falls and then sort of circularly rotates itself throughout the room, and that also causes drafts. So I would look to things like that. And the last thing I will tell you to do is to look at your outlets on the exterior walls. Take the cover plate off, and you can get an outlet gasket, which is like a foam gasket, fits right under the outlet, and then put the cover plate back on. And that will seal the area around those outlets, because very often you'll see that you'll get drafts that come through those holes where the outlets are actually placed in the exterior walls. So I would start with insulation.
Okay, thank you so much, Tom, for calling me back.
You're welcome.
Have a great day, both of you.
Good luck with that project.
So good, so good, so good.
New year, new gear. Thousands of fresh active styles are at Nordstrom Rack stores now. Save on top brands like Nike, Puma, and Free People, starting at just $35.
How did I not know Rack has Adidas?
There's always something new.
Plus, join the Nordy Club to shop new arrivals first, unlock exclusive discounts, and more. Great brands, great prices. That's why you Rack.
Hey, you want to support our podcast and help us grow? Well, go ahead and leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, and we'll be forever grateful. Plus, you'll be helping other homeowners discover our show. Just go to moneypit.com/review. I'm Leslie Segrete. With me is Jim Kenzie, and we are wrapping up the very last hour of the Money Pit and our last weekend with you guys. But just know that doesn't mean we're going away forever. You can always find Jim and myself and, of course, Tom at moneypit.com, and all of the old Money Pit podcasts will be available there for you as well. So check them on out at moneypit.com/podcast. Now, let's get back to some of our favorite calls with Tom by our side. It's so weird hearing his voice, but it's also weird because I feel like I always hear his voice. So let's share it with you all again. Heading on out to Nebraska, where we've got Cliff on the line, who's looking to match some new wood to old. Tell us about your project.
Well, I'm making some barnwood picture frames, and where you have to make a cut, unless you want to miter the joints, how do you make that cut look old?
Okay, so there's a bunch of techniques that people use to distress wood to make it look old, usually involving beating up the wood one way or the other. And they do that with chains, smacking it with chains, poking it with screwdrivers, using a really coarse file to rough it up, that sort of thing. Or there's another way to do this, and you have to get out of the house to do this, but if you have a plumbing torch, like a propane torch, you can burn the wood, and then after you burn it, because that's going to burn off the softer wood, which is going to be, when you have the rings of a tree and you have a thick ring and a thin ring, well, the thick ring is softer, so the torch will burn that part off more, and you get some dimension to it. And then you take a brush. You can do it probably with a scrub brush, but you can also do it with a wire brush, and you brush away any of the char, and you'll get a really almost driftwoody look to that's similar to that barn wood. But once you're done with that, you can either leave it like it is, or you can stain it, depending on what technique you choose. And I would use an oil-based stain on that, and I would start with a light coating of that and then kind of work in more as you go. So basically, you beat up the wood and stain it, or you can also burn it and stain it if it's not quite the right color.
Thank you.
Cindy, welcome to the Money Pit. We hear you have a porch decking question. What's going on?
I'm calling about a manufactured porch deck I have, and the builders did not put space between the boards. And now when it rains, it puddles. And in the wintertime, the puddle turns to ice. So it's unusable. So I was wondering your suggestions on how to fix this. We're not able to take it all apart, but can we use a drill and make holes in it? And how can we do it so it's not atrocious looking?
Well, Cindy, if the decking boards are put up edge to edge to the point where they're holding water, there is actually a pretty easy way to fix that. It's got to be done carefully, but what you can do is you can use a circular saw. And I'm saying you, but this is really more of a pro kind of thing. Somebody's really familiar with a saw and can do this in a straight and professional way. But basically, you take a circular saw, you set the depth of the blade to be even with the depth of the decking board, and then basically you cut right through the seam between the two boards, leaving the space of a kerf, the saw blade, in its wake. So basically, you'll be putting like an 1/8 of an inch slot in between those boards, essentially adding in the space that was not put in there when the contractor first installed those boards. So you can use that kerf on as many boards as you have to kind of relieve the water. You may not have to do it to every single board on the porch, but do enough so that it doesn't hold the water, and then that will let it drain. So that's the easiest way to do this, and that should solve this problem of the water puddling. All right? Good luck.
Well, over 21 years, we have taken thousands, would you say, Jim? Thousands of calls?
Oh, easy, yeah.
Tens of thousands of calls.
Sometimes it's the same guy over and over, but that's a total different story. We'll tell that off air.
Another problem. Yeah. That guy's going to keep calling you. I don't know what's next. Well, with all of those thousands of calls, we've solved thousands of problems. We've heard just about every DIY story imaginable. And through all of it, certain core lessons have stood out. Truth about homes that never change. The first lesson is simple. Maintenance always matters. The smallest tasks, cleaning the gutters, changing the filters, checking for leaks, prevent the biggest problems. Tom said it best. It's never the big stuff that gets you. It's the little stuff you ignore. Now, the second lesson, know your limits, but don't underestimate yourself. We've watched homeowners tackle projects they never thought they could do, from building decks to refinishing floors, because they took the time to learn, to ask questions, and to plan. And I'm not going to lie to you guys. I have called Tom in the middle of the night. What's that sound? Why is it doing this? How do I get that to stop? And, I know that you guys have used us in that very same way, and we are so very, very thankful. Third lesson here, good planning beats good luck every single time. So whether you're budgeting, renovating, or decorating, preparation saves time, money, and stress. And fourth, function before beauty. A gorgeous space isn't worth much if it doesn't work for the way you actually live. And that's something you've heard us say again and again throughout these years. And finally, your home is a living thing. It changes, it ages, it needs care and attention, and it rewards you when you give it those things. So these are the lessons that have shaped the entire run of the Money Pit, and we hope they will serve you well for every project that you still have ahead. Let's get back to our favorite guy, Tom, and all of our questions that he's helped answer over these years. Jimmy, who do we have up?
Here's an interesting call I found, Leslie.
Luke in North Carolina is on the line with some floors that are buckling. Tell us what's going on at your money pit.
Underneath my home is a crawl space, and I have HVAC in my house. It was built in 1986, and it's the wood floors that we had put in are starting to like buckle in like one place, like nice big plank wood floors. And I believe it's due to the humidity possibly in the crawl space or the way that I'm not really sure, but I'm kind of wondering how that can be fixed.
Well, Luke, buckling wood floors could definitely be caused by very humid air in that crawl space. So let's start there. I'm going to kind of run you through the basics of what you need to do to try to dry that out. First of all, you want to make sure that you have a vapor barrier. You want plastic sheeting across the entire floor of that crawl space. You secondly want to make sure that there are crawl space vents that are opened up and those exterior walls. And thirdly, you want to take steps to reduce the amount of moisture that has a chance to get into that crawl space. And the way you do that is by making sure that your gutters are clean and free-flowing and extended at least 6 feet away from the house so that you're moving all that water well away from the crawl space. Then also making sure that the soil slopes away from the house so it's not sort of recessed or holding water against it. That's what will dry out a crawl space. Now, you could also add a whole house dehumidifier down there. There are some good models that Santa Fe makes that will be suspended from the crawl space ceiling and run on a humidistat to, again, pull that moisture out. But that would be the way that you would try to reduce moisture in that crawl space. I would be curious, though, you really should see some other signs of moisture if it's really that bad to be affecting the floors upstairs. You might see some mold. You might see some algae growth. You may even have some rotted beams. So I would inspect it first. And then if you need to dry it out, those are the steps I would follow. Good luck with that project.
We've got Rita on the line from Arkansas who's looking to put in a metal roof. How can we help you?
The contractors that I talked to, they seem to have really sour attitudes, and that's the nicest word I could put it.
What do they seem to be so miserable about?
They get offended that I ask questions like, what are the measurements of my roof? And they want me to sign paperwork as soon as they show up. Yeah. Things like that. I want to know a streamlined way to get estimates.
So one thing that you can do is you can use a service called Angie, A-N-G-I. And so if you go online to Angie.com, ANGI.com, and then you put in what you're looking for. So in this case, you're looking for a roofer to install a metal roof, and they may ask you a couple of questions. And then what happens is Angie then sends your information out to a limited number of contractors in your area that have already identified themselves as doing this sort of work. So you're only going to hear from those that are most qualified and most interested in your project because they actually are paying for the leads to get your contact information. It's an advertising expense for them. So then when they show up, they're totally prepared to do a proper estimate and don't expect you to sign something on the dotted line right there. You know, if they're trying to push you to get you to hire them without you having a chance to think about it, that's a bad sign right there. And I would go no further with someone that did that to me. A friend of mine the other day had to get an estimate for windows, and it was 9 windows, and the estimate was $35,000, which was ridiculous. But secondly, the guy goes, well, if you can decide in the next 20 minutes, it goes down to $26,000. I mean, are you kidding me? So she basically tossed him out of the house with a few choice words to boot. But anybody that tries to push you like that is just bad business. So I would not lose any sleep over that. I would just not work with them at all. But I think if you try Angie, you'll get an entirely different result.
Thank you.
Yeah, and you know what, Rita? There's other people reviewing that contractor, letting you know how they were to work with, if their prices were fair, what the project was like, the end result. So there's like a community that you can kind of compare things with right there to get a better sense.
Thank you.
This message may be shocking to many millennials. If you are one, you might want to sit down. Right now, loads of people are searching the following on Depop: low-rise jeans, halter top, velour tracksuit, puka shell necklace, disc belt. You likely placed these in the dark of your closet in 2004, never to be seen again. But if you can find it in yourself to dust them off, there are a lot of people who will give you money for them. Sell on Depop, where taste recognizes taste.
Toast the holidays in a new way and raise a glass of rum chata. A delicious creamy blend of horchata with rum. Enjoy it over ice or in your coffee. Rum chata, your holiday cocktails just got sweeter. Tap or click the banner for more. Drink responsibly. Caribbean rum with real dairy cream, natural and artificial flavors. Alcohol 13.75% by volume, 27.5 proof. Copyright 2025 Agave Loco Brands, Pewaukee, Wisconsin. All rights reserved.
We are here with you on the very last hour of the Money Pit. Super weird, Jim.
Yeah, it's different. Didn't see that coming.
Yeah, me neither.
But you know what? There's always a reason for something. We may not know it right this second. You don't know what's around the corner. You never know.
Yeah, and you're right. And I feel like our guy Tom, maybe Tom's got some strings pulling somewhere for us for something different.
There you go.
And we will continue to share his message and his ideas when we do so. But first, you guys, if you want more Money Pit podcast, it will be available for you at moneypit.com. You can go there and you can download your favorite episodes. And of course, you can look for all of the home advice you've come to love on moneypit.com. But let's get back to sharing some of our calls with Tom and some of your questions that he helped us answer throughout all these years. And it's just great hearing his voice. All right, Jim, who's next?
Here's one I'm guessing you'll remember, Leslie.
Heading over to Texas, we've got Deborah on the line who's got a badly cracked floor. Let's see what's going on.
My home was built 2 years ago in South Central Texas in the San Antonio area. About 6 months ago, all of the ceramic tile cracked in like a spider web fashion. I'm waiting for engineer's report through the warranty company to see if they're going to do anything about it. I believe they're going to come back and tell me it's settling, but I have a hard time believing that a house would be settling as such in 2 years. I just not sure what's going to happen, but I thought I would ask a professional.
Hey, Deborah. So here's what I'm thinking. I'm not ready to chalk this up to settlement at all. If you've got a badly cracked tile floor, the best possible cause here is because they didn't put an isolation membrane between what I'm presuming is a slab and the tile, which means as you get expansion and contraction, they move separately. And if the isolation membrane is not there, they're going to crack. If you, in fact, have a problem with the slab itself, it is definitely not a settlement issue. Something is dreadfully wrong. And I appreciate that the home warranty company that you got from your builder is sending an engineer out. But I think you need to have your own engineer look at this, somebody who's independent from that home warranty company to give an opinion as to why this happened, because it could be potentially safe. It could impact your safety. It certainly could impact the value of your home. So I would definitely recommend you hire your own structural engineer and have that evaluated yourself. Good luck with that project, and I hope this is helpful.
Well, over the years here at the Money Pit, some questions, they came up again and again, and so did some very understandable mistakes. So I want to give you the quick version of the biggest pitfalls that we've seen and how you can skip them entirely. Mistake number 1, ignoring water. If you see moisture, mold, stains, or leaks, act immediately. Water is the number 1 enemy of your home, and it never gets better on its own. In fact, it will get worse.
That's a guarantee.
And it might get worse super quick, so just pay attention to it. Now, mistake number 2 is going with the cheapest contractor. Price matters, but so does scope of work, experience, references. Tom always said the bitterness of poor quality remains long after the sweetness of a low price is forgotten.
Yeah.
And boy, is that true.
Oh, yeah.
I can remember my very good friend, Liz, I'm calling you out. She met with so many contractors for her kitchen, and I kept saying, go with this guy. I know it seems high, but he's covering all the stuff. Mm-hmm. And she went with the guy on the low end, and I think she ended up paying like way more than the expensive guy in the fixes and the time and the materials and
the
all
attorneys
that.
And the court fees and
Yeah, dude. And I didn't even bill her for my hours. Woof. No, I'm kidding.
Some friend.
I know. But truly, it's definitely an important lesson to be learned. Now, mistake number 3 is skipping permits. They exist to protect you, your safety, your property value, and even your insurance coverage. Next mistake, overestimating DIY skills or underestimating the time a project takes. YouTube confidence, dude, that is real, but so is fatigue, injury, risk, unexpected complexity. Just because some dude on a video makes it look super easy and super quick, it didn't take that short of a time that he's showing you. And it took a lot of skills and life lessons to get that person to that point too. So maybe you give it a try, but really take a realistic hard look at what you're capable of. And finally, neglecting home systems, electrical panels, plumbing valves, water heaters, the HVAC unit, they all need regular care. These are all easy mistakes that you could make, but they're even easier to prevent once you know how, and now you do. All right, Jim, let's get back to some of our favorite calls with Tom. Who do you have lined up?
Here you go, Leslie.
Brian is joining us with an issue going on in the bathroom every time he takes a shower. All right, what's going on?
Every time I get a shower, I have condensation running down the walls, and I have to wipe the walls with a towel. Do I need to change the fan, or is there another problem?
Now, I think what you're seeing there is just sort of the condensation from the hot, moist air of the shower touching the colder wall in the bathroom space. And that's more of an exhaust fan issue. I don't think you're moving out that moist air. I don't think this is anything more than that. Yes, you may have to dry out the walls until you correct the situation, like with the towel, but changing out the vent fan to something more powerful, opening the window and putting on the vent fan. I mean, you have to move that moist air out to correct this issue.
Yeah, definitely. If you've got high humidity in the bathroom because you're not venting it, of course it's going to condense on the walls as well as the bath walls, but also as well as the shower walls and the tub walls, but also just the drywall in the bathroom and in the ceiling. So you've got to move that humidity out there. Having an effective fan is important. Having that set up on an humidistat. See, we're just accustomed to taking a shower, leaving the room, even if we have a fan, and turn the fan off. That fan's actually got to run for a bit after you leave that bathroom in order to totally move the moisture out. Just make sure that when you discharge it, it's actually discharging out of the house, not just in the attic, but actually going out of the house. And a good way to make sure that's happening, if you do see an exhaust duct on the outside, turn the fan on, go look at it. It should have a flapper that actually moves to the open position.
We've got Lori in New Jersey on the line who's dealing with a very greasy garage floor. What's going on over there?
I have a question about my daughter. She just bought a home in Bricktown, and she has a garage floor that is coated probably about 1/4 of an inch thick with oil and grease, probably from changing, the oil in the car. So anyway, we were wondering how to deal with that and what would be the best way to, get that oil or grease up, or can it just be covered over with something?
So, Lori, I think that an epoxy floor finish product would be really good in this situation. You do have to clean the floor, and that's going to be done by pressure washing it. You can use a TSP solution that will help you loosen up some of that old oil that's in there. And also, if you use a product like a garage floor refinishing kit, I actually am working right now with a product from Dice Coatings called Die Hard 100. It's designed to be a garage floor kit. I'm actually using it in a basement for the same reason. And it's a 2-part epoxy that you mix up and then you pour on, and it has sort of a color flake in it, so it sort of hides the dirt once it's hardened. But before you get there, you really need to clean this floor very well. You can do that with a pressure washer. Also, there's a concrete etcher that you can use that the Dice Coatings company also sells. And in your case, since it sounds like it's so thick and so persistent, you're going to really want to spend a lot of time cleaning this floor and then making sure that it's dried very, very well. You can't wash it on Saturday and put the floor down on Sunday. You got to let that water evaporate out. So plan accordingly, and I think you will have a very beautiful garage floor for what sounds like the first time ever in the life of this home.
Coca-Cola. For the big, for the small, the short, and the tall. Peacemakers, risk takers. For the optimists, pessimists. For long distance love. For introverts and extroverts. The thinkers and the doers. For old friends and new. Coca-Cola. For everyone. Pick up some Coca-Cola at a store near you.
Close your eyes, exhale, feel your body relax, and let go of whatever you're carrying today.
Well, I'm letting go of the worry that I wouldn't get my new contacts in time for this class. I got them delivered free from 1-800-CONTACTS. Oh my gosh, they're so fast.
And breathe.
Oh, sorry. I almost couldn't breathe when I saw the discount they gave me on my first order. Oh, sorry. Namaste.
Visit 1-800-CONTACTS.com today to save on your first order.
1-800-CONTACTS.
We are here to share with you some last few bits of insight before we say goodbye for the Money Pit for one last time. But first, remember, guys, the Money Pit podcast will be available at moneypit.com/podcast. You can catch up on all of your old favorite episodes. And of course, check out moneypit.com for some great home improvement advice. But first, let's get back to some of our classic Money Pit calls that Tom has shared some excellent advice on over the years. We'd love to hear his voice. So, Jim, who do we have?
We're going to swing on over to the great state of Texas, Leslie.
Heading over to Texas, where we've got Lisa on the line who's got a question about outlets. What's going on at your Money Pit?
Hi. We have an older home. It was built in 1960, and in some areas of the home, there are older outlets with only 2 holes. And then in some other rooms, we have holes that have, outlets that have 3 holes. So my first question is it safe to leave them as they are with just the 2 holes, or should we have all consistent outlets within this house?
Well, certainly you're talking about 2 different types of wiring, and the outlets that have 3, that have the ground plus the 2 prongs, that's a grounded wire, which is basically run separately. The ones that have the 2 prongs is basically a 2-wire system, and the ground is done through the box itself. So, is it safe? It can be safe. It's not as safe or as durable, I would say, as having the modern outlets, but it's just not a matter of switching out the outlets. You have to make sure you have the wiring there to support it. Now, if you're going to plug something that has 3 prongs into the 2-prong, you have to use an adapter, and then you have to actually attach the adapter using the center screw in between the outlets, because that's how you're picking up a ground. And even doing that doesn't necessarily mean it's grounded, because who knows how those were put together behind the walls. So if you want to be sure, you could have an electrician check them all out and find out if you will be creating a grounded situation if you use that adapter or not. But if you're going to do some upgrading, I never think it's a bad idea to upgrade your wiring and make it safe and make it current.
I see. Well, that is very helpful to know, and that is something we can definitely take care of and contact a friend of the family who's an electrician, so we can remedy that problem.
Excellent. All right. Well, good luck with that project.
Thank you so much, and you guys have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.
Well, as we close out 21 years of home improvement conversations, I want to leave you with the projects that I believe, and Tom believed, are always worth your time. Project 1, improving your energy efficiency, air sealing, insulation upgrades, and smart thermostats. They don't sound glamorous, but they save money, they increase comfort, and they reduce the stress on your home. Project 2, creating spaces that make daily life easier. A better mudroom, a more organized kitchen, a comfortable reading corner.
A garage I can actually use for cars.
Jim's garage that he wants to put his car in, that's super organized, and also, a good space for an automobile. Who knew?
I've heard that from somebody, but I don't know.
Yeah, well, those are the spaces that add joy, and they can mean different things to me, and they can mean different things to you. And so that's what we want you to find. What's going to make you really enjoy your house? Next project, upgrading the lighting. Lighting changes everything about a room. The mood, the style, the function. There's a restaurant in my town where the bartender hates my guts because I don't like to sit in the lighting that they always choose to have in the space.
Is there a chance you could come over?
Hey, make a little dimmer and
Sure.
But it really does set the tone and the mood. Remember, that right fixture or that bulb temperature transforms that space and your mood instantly. So pay attention to it. Next up, exterior care. Painting, caulking, sealing, landscaping. Keep the elements out, and it also keeps your home looking beautiful, so don't ignore those projects. And lastly, safety essentials. Smoke alarms, carbon monoxide detectors, fire extinguishers, secure railings. Those are the things that protect the people you love. Now, these are the projects that make a home not just a place to live, but a place to thrive. I'm Leslie Segrete, and with me for the last weekend, of this version of the Money Pit, is Jim Kenzie. We don't know what the future holds for us, and we don't know what the future holds for you guys, but we hope that we will always be able to be a part of it. Right, Jim?
No, Leslie, I'm actually going to go.
No, jerk face.
I had to get my last jerk move in for you, Les.
How dare you? I'm going to miss you a lot. I'm going to miss these sessions. I'm going to miss everybody.
I'm still going to, be stalking you and texting you at 3 a.m. and stuff.
That's fine. I'm up for work. Doesn't matter. I like those texts. Man, just hearing Tom's voice brings back so many memories. And I always go back to the time, I think we worked on this house on Long Island for, I can't remember if it was like Habitat for Humanity. I don't remember what the project was, but what I do remember is we were using a new product at the time that's now been around for far too long. It was sort of a peel and stick tile adhesive. And for some reason, I, like a dum-dum, decided to put it on the counter and the counter edge first and then reach over it to put on the backsplash. And I kept gluing myself to the counter, like literally gluing my belt and my waistband to the counter. And Tom would turn around and I'd be like truly stuck there. And he'd be like, again? I'd be like, yeah, what?
We're seeing a pattern develop here, Leslie.
So funny. It's so good to think about all of this again.
It's very surrealistic, Leslie, to be introducing your last word, but I've had the honor of working with you for over 20 years. And I look forward to whatever lies down the road for both of us.
Thanks, Jim. I mean, really, it's so bizarre. I feel like I have grown up with all of you. Certainly, life has changed tremendously over these years. Lots of losses, lots of gains, lots of love. And it's really been an amazing adventure. So before we close out this final hour of the Money Pit, I do want to take a moment to speak from my heart. For 21 years, this show has been a part of my life in a way I never could have imagined when we started. I have spent countless weekends guiding you through projects, celebrating your successes, laughing with you, sometimes talking you guys off of a renovation ledge. And, I've spent all of these years sitting beside someone who made the show what it is, our longtime host, Tom Kraeutler. Losing Tom this past year was a heartbreak, and I think we're all really still adjusting to it, but his voice, his humor, his steady presence will always be a part of me and definitely a part of this show's legacy. So as this chapter closes, I want to say thank you. I know we all want to say thank you to you, our listeners. You trusted us with your questions, your projects, your homes, and thank you for letting us into your weekends, your routines, your living rooms. I mean, truly, guys, there have been times when I've needed you more than anything. There have been so many changes where sitting behind this mic was weird. When my husband died, when my mom died, when the dog died. I mean, it has been bananas to share these major changes with you guys, but you have been that constant for me, and Tom had been that constant for me. So this has been a big year in a lot of weird ways. So as this chapter closes, we really do want to say thank you. And as you move forward, I hope that you carry with you the spirit that has guided the Money Pit from the start. Take care of your homes. Take pride in your work. Don't be afraid to tackle something new. You are more capable than you all think. And that is very true. And from the bottom of my heart, I just want to say thank you for 21 unforgettable years. I'm Leslie Segrete, and for the last time, this is the Money Pit Home Improvement Show. Sorry, getting a little choked up here. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for learning with us. And thank you for letting us be a small part of your home and your life.
I'm Tom Kraeutler.
And I'm Leslie Segrete.
Remember, you can do it yourself.
But you don't have to do it alone.
You live in a money pit.
Doug. Here we have the Limu Emu in its natural habitat, helping people customize their car insurance and save hundreds with Liberty Mutual. Fascinating. It's accompanied by his natural ally, Doug.
Limu, is that guy with the binoculars watching us?
Cut the camera. They see us.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Savings vary. Underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates. Excludes Massachusetts.
Hey, Ryan Reynolds here. Wishing you a very happy half-off holiday, because right now Mint Mobile is offering you the gift of 50% off unlimited. To be clear, that's half price, not half the service. Like, Mint is still premium unlimited wireless for a great price. So that means a half day. Yeah? Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.